everyone, welcome in this class as we are discussing our chapter number 10, that is struggle for equality. In our previous class we had summarized what we learned in our previous chapters from chapter 1 to chapter 9, and we also discussed about Tawa Masya Sangh, how the people of Tawa Masya Sangh struggled, how they protested against the government to get their right, and how government listened to their voices and called them for talk, and at last they got their fishing right. So today we will continue the chapter, and today we will discuss how our constitution is a living document. So let's see how our constitution is a living document.
Now, Indian Constitution is a living document. How do we agree to this statement? The Indian Constitution is a document which is written in 1947, 1948 to 1950. We discussed in the making of the Indian Constitution, there are various members, various committees who referred various other constitutions of the world, and they have picked up the best suited article, best suited their right, everything from American Constitution, from the Russian Constitution, from the Ireland Constitution, Australian Constitution, British Constitution, and finally they summed up and made a fantastic living document of Indian Constitution. It took nearly 2 years, 11 months, 18 days to complete this massive task. So once the Constitution is been returned and it frames the rules and regulations, it gives us an idea what are the rules of this particular land, because India is a sovereign country and all the rules which are written in the Constitution or the laws which are mentioned in the Constitution must and should be followed by all the citizens of the country. There is no exemption to anyone. It is a President of India or a common man of the country. All are prosecuted, all are forced it to follow the same law that is mentioned in the Constitution. Now, moving on to understand it much further, how can a constitution which is written around some 60 to 65 years ago will be a living document of the present time? Yes, Constitution has guaranteed for all of us the equality and justice for all. Any kind of discrimination, any kind of untouchability, everything is been banned in the Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the drafting committee chairperson, drafted the bill and made sure that no person is discriminated on the basis of caste, which is very common seen in our country. Ambedkar himself experiences this kind of tragedies in his own life, so he made sure that nobody else in the future will be discriminated on the basis of religion. Moving ahead, he also guaranteed social equality for everyone. Now the caste discrimination are prohibited, untouchability is prohibited, name on the basis of religion, on the basis of caste, any discrimination which are being made are also completely wiped out because of the laws which are made in the Constitution. Then Tawa Masya Sangh people who fought for their right, they are able to gain their rights because they are group of fishermen who were displaced because of the location or because of the construction of a reservoir and the place where they used to stay earlier. They used to stay in a village which made the river to flow around them, and they used to do fishing there and they used to live their lives. And once they construct the reservoir and displaced all the people and brought private contractors to do fishing, how can this be justified? You need not give any opportunity for them for rehabilitation. You did not provide any chance to do what the better work they can do, and you are cheating or denying their rights of doing fishing and giving somebody else more profit. So on this basis they protested. The government called for the talk, and finally they are able to make some positive response, and they are able to earn a good livelihood. And coming to the recognition of the equality in India, do we really have equality in all aspects, social, economical, and political? Social untouchability, caste discrimination is completely banned. Political, every person has one value, one vote. Any person can contest in any election, irrespective of his caste, creed, religion, region, or any other differences. And coming to the uh, economic equality is far from reality, because when we look at the health issues, we have government hospitals, we have private hospitals. The privatization made it more comfortable. We have seen an example where Aman has been taken to the hospital, to a private hospital. They have treated him in a very good way, while in the government hospital, Kanta was to wait for hours. Though they were suffering with the viral infections, so they waited for hours, and it was a very massive, difficult task for them to take them for hospital and to bring him back from the hospital. Coming to the media or the advertisements are always benefiting the rich. The big corporate houses run the media channels. So any discrimination or any news against the large corporate groups, it is very difficult to be telecasted in any news channels, because the news channels themselves are owned by the rich corporate houses. So it is very difficult to give any news against them. And coming to the advertisements, a small businessman who hardly find amount to do investment for his business, who struggles a lot, expend his all savings and then starts the business, and he cannot give advertisements in the newspaper where he has to pay lakhs of rupees, or he cannot put an advertisement on the television channels where they also ask for a huge amount. So there are also advertisements benefiting the rich people, the corporate houses, the multi-millionaires. So in India, we have till social and political equality, but economic inequality is still present in our country. But coming to the aspect of democracy, there are people always fighting for expanding the idea of democracy. Whenever there is a new issue coming up, whenever there is a violence of equality, whenever there is a harm for the self-respect of individuals, whenever there is a harm for the dignity of the individuals, it has become a very important source of debate in our country, where they always fought for the expansion of the idea of democracy. and recognizes self-respect and dignity for every individual, but at the same time the self-respect and dignity of every individual can be preserved only if they have assured resources to maintain that. If they do not have the assured resources or the economic support for them, it comes to very very difficult for them to manage this. Now, coming to the first point again, how is our constitution is a living document? So how is the constitution of our country is still a living document? This is the common doubt among many group of people, among many children, which was written before we are born in 1950s. We don't know great grandfathers were alive, and now they are saying the constitution is a living document. How is it possible? How can we say that it is a living document? The framers of the constitution we have never seen. We have just seen the photographs of them. We have just looked at them when they have their birth anniversaries. So how is it justified that to call the constitution as a living document? In our constitution, there are special provisions like adding up as per the requirement. You can amend the constitution as many times as you want as per the requirement of the changes which are happening in our society. Our constitution has been amended till now more than 110 times in the past 60 years. It has added many new laws, many new clauses has been brought. Earlier, we has to be only 6 fundamental rights. Today we have 8 fundamental rights. Right to Information Act, as we also have Right to Education Act, which two are the compulsory act which makes us to understand democracy much better. As a common citizen, you can question on any project of the government. You can question on any issue of the government. If you are the citizen of the country, you have the right to know how the government is functioning, how the things are happening, and it is at the very, very low cost. So, Right to Information Act assures you the transparency in administration. You can check it at any point of time as the citizen of the country, and at the same time Right to Education Act grants education for children from age 6 to 14 years, irrespective of their caste, color, religion, or economical status. All the children under age of 14 must and compulsory should get the education, the primary education. So, like this, the constitution is always been added up by certain changes. So, the amendment which are happening will always makes us the constitution to be alive and fresh. That is the main reason why our constitution is known as a living document. When the new tree or a plant is living, when the old things, the leaves dry up, the flowers come, birds raise beautiful flowers comes, and after 2 or 3 days they dry up. Again the leaves shed, again the new leaves comes, new birds comes, again the new flowers comes. So like this, Whenever there is a new issue arises, whenever there is a new point of difficulty, whenever there is a harm for self-respect, whenever there is the harm for dignity, whenever there is a issue of conflict, the constitution always brings certain amendments, certain changes, and incorporate all these changes. So like this constitution has been amended for more than 100 times to 110 times, and making it an alive, fresh document which is as perfect as it is made today's requirements. So the constitution is not an outdated document. A constitution is a document which is suitable perfectly to the present day's scenario by making amendment to this one. That is the reason why the Indian constitution is a living document which always assures and guarantees the equality for all, justice for all, which are the two guiding principles of democracy, and also always tries to protect the self-respect and dignity of every individual. So that's all we have in this chapter.